Training for a half marathon, definitely if you're trying to set a new personal best, in terms of how long to train for a half marathon, I always preach the importance of doing a longer buildup rather than a shorter buildup. Over the years, as I trained for longer races, I always set new personal best on usually between a 16 week, but I was always usually between 16 and 24 weeks in my own buildups. And that helped me to run 107.06 for the half marathon distance. And so I always tell athletes that are training for half marathons and are asking this question of how long to train for a half marathon, it's always better to focus more on the long term than doing a short term buildup, because again, you don't want to rush this process, especially if you're trying to run faster than you've ever run for the half marathon distance. It's always a better approach to make sure that you're adapting to each specific track session you're doing, road workouts you're doing. And the fact of the matter is, it just doesn't, great times don't come overnight. And a lot of times we miscalculate the amount of time we as athletes achieve the types of times we're aiming for. Most of the time, if you're going for, say, an hour and 50 minutes for the half marathon, it might take you a year to get that time. It might take you several years to get that time. The key thing is to make short-term goals, make long-term goals. Keep yourself motivated as you build up. Continue to train at down at 3K, 5K, 10K race paces in training each week. I always talk about doing one VO2 max workout where you're running, might be examples of it might be repeat 400s for the athlete that's aiming to run under 2 hours for a half marathon. That's 9:09 mile pace. So doing 400s, say at like 7:35 mile pace, running at paces that you're not going to hold for the half marathon distance, and not even run at for 10 miles or 16 kilometers. You want to be training at those types of very aggressive efforts, but also make sure that you're jogging as well. Make sure that you're slowing down on recovery days and allowing yourself time to recover from the hard training you're doing, because you're not going to continue to push the body hard over and over again and get a high return on your investment if you don't pay attention to slowing down on easy days. Half marathon success also comes about when you're focusing on not just running high volume, but the quality of the work that you're doing. Okay, the world's top runners, and this is according to Dr. Joe Vigil, one of the world's top distance running coaches. He was a mentor of mine over the years. He said that the world's top runners and the runners that he personally worked with run about 40% of their weekly volume at or below anaerobic threshold effort. So to race a half marathon and not to slow down and to maintain that pace, the reason why these athletes are making it look so easy is because they have trained such a high percentage of their weekly volume at a much higher intensity. They've spent more time running at their anaerobic threshold or faster than their anaerobic threshold. That's running around 88 to 92% of your max heart rate. So it's not because these athletes are Kenyan or Ethiopian or Ugandan or Norwegian. It doesn't matter what the athletes around the world that are running at the highest levels, they can be from totally different areas. It's the quality of the work that they're putting in that's making them look so relaxed in training. And so if you've been having problems in the past running a half marathon at your goal race pace, look at what you're doing in training. What percentage of that weekly volume that you're putting in, what percentage of that are you really training at your race pace or faster than your race pace? Okay, and if that percentage is too low, then you have to make some adjustments. Okay, it's not just about running high volume. Yes, there are runners out there they're kind of an enigma to me. The athletes out there that can just run high volume and not do much speed work at all and still run great times, superior times. Some athletes just do much better off of volume than doing speed workouts. But in most cases, especially in my own background, I had to do speed work. I had to work on, because I had a small amount of genetic capability, I guess. I mean, the first time I ran 1,600 meters as a high school athlete, I ran it in 5:30. Ended up running the full mile, 1,609 meters in 4:22. So I had some leg speed. I did run 53 seconds for 400 meters in high school. but my strength was long distance. Okay, I didn't have very raw leg speed, so I had to do speed workouts, and you may be in the same situation as well. The half marathon is a highly aerobic race, so. But even that being said, you have to continue to work on your overall leg speed, because again, you want to be able to call upon that glycogen storage, and you want to be able to pick up the pace in the last 5 kilometers of a half marathon. You don't want to be slowing down. And so even as long distance runners, we may be 99% slow twitch muscle fibers and maybe 1% fast twitch muscle fibers. And then you look at an athlete like Usain Bolt, who might be the complete opposite. He might be 99% fast twitch muscle fibers and 1% slow twitch muscle fibers. Okay, we're all physiologically built differently. But I think that in order to train for a half marathon, you want to do it right. And so a longer buildup, in my opinion, a minimum buildup of 16 weeks, but preferably between 20 and 24 weeks is the optimal way to go. You won't be in a rush to build your fitness. You won't be as frustrated because, again, it takes between 3 weeks to a month for you to adapt to what you're throwing at your body. Okay, so the athlete that's, say, trying to break maybe an hour and 30 minutes for the half marathon, you have to run 6:52 mile pace or 4:16 kilometer pace for that entire distance. So you do want to spend some time running closer down towards 6 flat mile pace, or down like around 3:40 kilometer pace in training, so that you get that sub 1:30 half marathon pace to feel easier for you. Okay, now in terms of the half marathon, also I always talk about what are the other things in the race that you can do to ensure that you succeed. Proper pacing, not going out too fast, running a negative split, running the tangents in the race, meaning you're running the least amount of distance as you can versus your competition. If there's a right-hand turn coming up on the course, make sure you get to the right-hand side of the road. Okay, don't run in the middle of the lane of the road or to the far left of the road. Let your competition run further than they need to. Okay, you have to be more strategic. You have to be thinking outside the box to run a fast half marathon. And when I ran in Philadelphia, I pretty much got smoked in that race. The winner ran 101 and I ran 107.06. I think I was 24th in that race overall. I'd have to look back at the results, either 24th or 26th, something like that. But I was aiming at running right around 5:05 mile pace for the 13.1 miles. I ended up holding 5:07. So, but again, I gradually got faster and faster throughout the race. Okay, I didn't go out at like 4:45 mile pace for the first 10 miles. Okay, I would have blown up and I probably would have ran like 1:15 instead. So in a half marathon, you want to make sure that you're running even splits, but aim for between even splits and running a negative split in the race. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're drinking in this race. Make sure you're taking in some gels. Okay, you can get away with that without taking any gels or even drinking in maybe a 5K on the roads. But anything from the 10K up, you do want to make sure that you're paying attention to your nutrition, your hydration, so and getting in those extra calories in the race. Practice that in training during your long runs. Okay, sit your water bottles out every 3 miles, every 5 kilometers. Practice drinking rather than sipping. I always talk about, too, with the half marathon distance, most athletes don't have the luxury of having their own water bottle and having their water bottles, on the table like the elite athletes. So when you're running past the aid stations, if you have to stop briefly for a few seconds to grab some Dixie cups and drink the entire contents between 2 and 3 Dixie cups, do that. It's better to do that than to run past the aid stations or to grab a couple cups and have the majority of the contents of the cups spill out on the road because you're running, okay? Focus on staying as relaxed as you can in the race. Do the best you can to stay confident. Also, trust your training. Don't stress out the morning of the race. It's okay to have a little bit of nerves, but stay as relaxed as you can. Don't overanalyze. Okay, make sure you're getting proper sleep. The week of the race, start carb loading the week of the race. These are the things that are going to set you up for success. So I hope this video on in terms of how long to train for a half marathon has been helpful for you. If you have any other questions or concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Let me know in the comment section below what is your current best for the half marathon. I'd love to hear where you're currently at and what is your short-term goal and what is your long-term goal. I'd also be really excited to hear where you guys and gals are at currently in the half marathon distance. And if you're looking to take your training and your racing to the next level, definitely check out the resources below these videos as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. They will definitely help you get to the next level in your training and racing. I'm highly confident of that. I've seen other athletes make new personal bests by following the running courses and the training plans, and I'm excited to see where you are in the upcoming months in your training and racing. So I wish you guys and gals all the very best in your training, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.